Private members' business, notice number 6, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk Bursary. Motion to be moved by the member for Parramatta.
Member for Parramatta has the call.
I move the motion relating to the Mustafa Kemal Ataturk Bursary in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper.
Member for Parramatta.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. It's wonderful today to acknowledge the launch of the Mustafa Kemal Ataturk Bursary on the 18th of March 2021 at the Australian War Memorial in Canberra. The bursary is a contribution by members of the Australian Turkish community to the Gallipoli Scholarship, which supports the descendants of Anzacs to study at university and TAFE. This bursary is an act of friendship by Turkish Australians who have made enormous contributions to our country and community, helping to forge the long and strong bond between Australia and Turkey. I'd like to welcome to the Federation Chamber today two, I'm going to call them parents of the bursary. The Chair of Gallipoli Scholarship Fund, retired Major General Michael Smith AO, and the Chair of the Ataturk Scholarship, Mr Omer Injakara. They're both in the gallery today, and I'm really looking forward to acknowledging and celebrating the launch of their joint initiative, the Mustafa Kemal Bursary, on the 18th of March. The 18th of March is a significant date. It's the date of the Çanakkale victory, when Ottoman forces repelled the British naval assault on the Dardanelles. It's a significant day, observed as a day of remembrance for all Turkish people who have died in the service of their country, people who work in public service such as police and firefighters, as well as defence personnel. The events of the 18th of March were also an important turning point in history, leading as they did to the Gallipoli landings on the 25th of April. In 8 months of brutal fighting, it's estimated that there were over 300,000 Ottoman and British Allied casualties, including over 56,000 Ottoman and almost 9,000 Australian deaths. The fighting ended when British Allied forces evacuated on 8th of January 1916, but the legacy continues to this day. Many consider Gallipoli to be a founding moment in history for Australia, our birth as an independent nation. It is certainly a founding moment in the relationship between our two countries, Australia and Turkey. Nevertheless, it took half a century for Australia and Turkey to establish formal diplomatic relations in 1967. While Turkish migration to Australia dates back to the 19th century, when Turkish cameleers were among the first who worked on camel trains, the numbers have grown substantially since 1967. Mr Injakari and Mr Oz Gurdon are the two inaugural donors of the Mustafa Kemal Ataturk Bursary, and they're descendants of the first migrant workers to arrive after diplomatic relations were established. They made the donation as a gift to their home, Australia, and the generation of Australians defence personnel who have made enormous sacrifices on behalf of a country where most of us have only known peace. They chose a scholarship because they credit the quality education they received in Australia for setting them up for later success. The Mustafa Kemal Ataturk Bursary is a contribution to the Gallipoli Scholarship Fund, a fund with an interesting history in its own right. Founded in 1996 with a $6,000 donation from a World War I Veterans Association, which had met annually prior to Anzac Day for a number of years at the Maryland's RSL Club, which was in my electorate until the redistribution pushed it over the border, but I want it back. It's just across the road, literally. The veterans who founded the fund wanted to promote a better understanding of the Gallipoli campaign, particularly among younger people. It helps inform and remind Australians of the sacrifices of those who served in conflicts and peace operations, and thereby contributes to the future security of our nation and our national values of democracy, freedom and the rule of law. The first recipient of the Mustafa Kemal Ataturk Bursary is Aisha Collins from Melbourne. Aisha is in her first year of a double degree in arts, majoring in languages, French and Spanish, and in law. So here we have Turkish Australians donating to a scholarship fund for Anzac veterans, and we have a wonderful young woman studying French and Spanish. That's who we are these days. We're an extraordinary country. The bursary will support a new student like Aisha to succeed in the crucial first year of study every year for at least the next 4 years. This is an act of friendship that creates a virtuous circle, as all of these students will gain valuable skills and one day give back to their communities. In closing, I'd like to thank again the donors, Mr Injakara and Mr Gurgen, the Ataturk Scholarship, which stands behind the bursary, and the Gallipoli Scholarship Fund for creating these opportunities for the children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren of our defence personnel. I'd like to thank too the Turkish Australians for their enormous contributions to our country and community. I know they're very proud of this. You make our communities stronger and make Australia a better place. And you've also helped forge a strong and lasting bond between Australia and Turkey.